With more than 100 years of experience, Mitas is one of Europe's leading motorcycle tyre brands. Whether you ride on the trails, enduro, on the road or on adventures, Mitas have the tyres for you. If they're good enough for the likes of Chris Birch and Paul Tarris, they're good enough for me and our Noel. For more information, go to mitas-moto.com. Go the distance with Mitas tyres. Hello everybody, not a real episode this week. I just thought it'd be useful to tell you a little bit more information about the trip that we're having to Morocco. Now, our friends Wilderness Wheels, based out of Ouarzazate, have invited Noel and I to go on a trip with them, and they're going to make it available to you guys as well. So as you know, I am a big fan of Morocco. I think I've been 5 times, always with Wilderness Wheels. This will be my 6th time out there. I've always recommended them to you, and I still do. It's really good fun out there. The riding isn't anything like it is in the UK. There are pistes through the desert. You're pretty much free to ride on any of the open spaces that are available. So these include fast pistes, rocky pistes. If you've watched any of the Dakar recently, then that's the sort of thing we're heading for. I've asked Sam for the trip to mirror some of the old Dakar pistes that were actually used in the Dakar when it was still held in Africa. Our eventual goal is to end up at the big dunes at Erg Shebi. They are remarkable. They've got the big cathedral dunes, and the idea is that we get there and we can ride around on those dunes and have an absolute blast and play out our little own Dakar fantasies. It should be amazing. Last time I got there, actually, I arrived with it wasn't a broken collarbone, but I'd actually ripped the tendons off the end of my collarbone, so I didn't actually get to ride at Erg Shebi. So this will be a bit of closure for me. Very much looking forward to it. So the idea is we're jumping on a flight. There's a bunch of us already booked on a flight from Manchester on Tuesday the 10th of March and flying back on Tuesday the 17th the following week. So it'll effectively be 2 travel days and 5 riding days with a sort of a final party in Marrakesh. Sam at Wilderness Wheels will organise everything for us. Everything's included in the price. We've managed to squeeze him a little bit, so he's given us a really good deal. He's knocked a few £100 off the usual price for a 5-day desert tour, which is great. Sam arranges really nice hotels, great food stops on the way. I've never been ill when I've been in Morocco because they know all the good places to go. The riding is incredible. It'd be great if you come along. I thought it might be fun, it might be interesting if I read you something that I wrote back in 2006, 2007, after my first trip to Morocco. So this was a charity ride, very similar to the one that we're going to be doing in March. So this is what I wrote on, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd day. An early start for a long day. Our guides had not ridden this route before. We were heading into the unknown. Much like our brethren on the Dakar, we were basically following and watching the Dakar on this trip as well. We were following the route of the Dakar special stage that the rally would be following tomorrow, Zagora to Fumzagid. We estimated that it was about a 300-kilometre run across a variety of terrain, at least 200 kilometres of which would be off-road. A long day, we assumed. I don't know if anybody expected a 12-hour ride, of which the last 3 hours would be in the dark, but I can guarantee if we were offered the ride again, there isn't a single person who would say no. A combination of fear and excitement prevailed. Today would be our first chance to ride in some sand dunes. I'd read Chris Scott's advice on riding sand in his Sahara Overland book, but obviously reading something is very different to putting it into practice. What you need to do, apparently, is not use your handlebars, other than for holding on to. Just lean in the direction you want to go and squeeze the throttle. When you run up a dune, keep the momentum going, but be careful when you get to the top of a dune, as there will be a steep drop-off at the other end. So pause to look over the lip, but not too long, or you will bog down. If you do, jump off your bike and run alongside with the throttle nailed and leap back on when you get out of the soft stuff. Simple. Maybe for young folk, that is. I'm a bit older now. A short trip on the tarmac and we came to the end of the road, literally. A quick stop for coffee and a photo of a camel, and we were heading into the sand. Now this is going to be interesting. The sand was very soft, which basically means it's very easy to sink into, rather than the hard variety that you're able to ride across far more easily. The guys from Wilderness Wheels had assured me that this was where the 650 would come into its own. Plenty of torque to keep you going in the sand. I'm not sure I believed them. All it meant to me at this stage was a big, heavy bike. more likely to disappear into the sand and far more difficult to pick up after dropping it into this, the world's biggest bunker. Purely by chance, somebody had a problem with their bike, which meant we stopped and waited for about 20 minutes. This was an ideal opportunity to put into practice what Chris Scott had written. The dunes were more like 3-foot mounds, a good place to start nonetheless. I tried to do exactly as advised, and bugger me, it worked. I was still a little wobbly, no change there then. The front end still had a mind of its own, but I could do this. I'd been very nervous about the sand. I dread to think how those new to off-road riding were feeling. I have no idea how long this shallow sand went on for, but it must have been about 20 miles or so. It eventually gave way to very flat, hard-packed terrain, a great opportunity to really wind the bikes up, at the same time keeping a very close eye out for the odd boulder or piece of vegetation. I thought I was going fast until King of the Desert and roommate Tony came hurtling past me on his CRF 450. This is brilliant. This is a day I will remember for the rest of my life, and I haven't even got to the good stuff yet. We stopped after a while to sweat off some adrenaline, hug each other, and otherwise make monkeys of ourselves. It wasn't just me that was enjoying myself. After a few miles, something rather magical appeared, and unless I'm very much mistaken, those small hills are called sand dunes. I'm struggling to think of a way of describing how I felt at seeing sand dunes. After hours of riding in sand, the fear of dunes had nearly disappeared. This was going to be brilliant. Sorry for overusing the word brilliant, but it was brilliant. The most excited I can remember being as a kid is on Christmas mornings, especially when a new pedal bike was in the offing. That is the kind of excitement I was feeling now. All the endorphins without the fear. I'm selling bottles of that to the highest bidder. Check out www.thebestbloodyfeelingintheworld.com for the auction site. Yeah, I really like it out there. What we're actually going to do 2 tours in one. One of the tours is going to be the off-road tour through pistes and through the tracks and the desert. And the other one is going to be sort of a mirrored tour, which is going to be on the road, on road bikes. I think probably Noel's going to be on that one most of the time. And then the idea is we obviously meet up for lunch in the evenings and we can chat about the days we've had. Road riding in Morocco is equally amazing. The scenery, if you haven't been in big deserts or anywhere in Africa, again, well worth a trip. Everything's included in the price other than alcohol. You can still get beer out there. It's not an issue. The other thing that isn't included is your kit, but most people like to take their own riding kit anyway. So if you don't want to take your riding kit, Sam will charge you the hire for that as well. I'm sure it's not very much money. So we've already got quite a few people booked up. If you fancy it, just get in touch with Sam at wildernesswheels.com. Drop him an email, give him a call, and he'll fill you in on more of the details. On the last night, we should be back in Marrakesh, and I think we'll have a bit of a night out, a bit of a celebration of the trip there as well. Things to think about: take medications with you. It's very hot during the day and it'll be very cold at night. Bring a layering system with you so you've got something for all temperatures. Bring medications with you. I'd recommend you get some decent insurance. They don't have an NHS out there, so if you do need to be flown somewhere, that needs to be paid for somehow. Sam will have a support vehicle with a spare bike or two as well, so we don't need to carry our bags. Just bring a rucksack for water and snacks and things like that. All of the transfers will be organised. We'll get picked up from the airport in Marrakesh and we'll get a bus or a taxi transfer over to Ouarzazate. You actually go over the mountain range there to reach the desert proper in Ouarzazate. Other things I normally take sun cream, take a water bottle. I take eye drops because it can be really dusty, so having something to relieve, to get the dust out of your eyes in the evening is quite good. And yeah, I'm going to get myself insured with the Austin Vince recommended globalrescue.com. If you need any more information, Sam's probably the best person to speak to because he's organising and running the tour. But any questions for me, just drop me an email via Instagram's probably the best bet. Usually respond to that fairly quickly. Right, I think that's everything. I just wanted to say, every time I go, I just have the most amazing time. It's so completely different to what we're used to certainly in the UK. Endless riding. You can ride for hours and hours and hours without seeing another soul. Through varied terrain, through villages, through dried up riverbeds, over sand dunes. Riding in sand is quite a challenge, but once you've kind of got the hang of it, you'll get used to it very quickly. It's going to be a right laugh. The food over there is incredible. The hotels we stay in are great. You all have dinner together and it's going to be really good fun. Get yourself booked on www.wildernesswheels.com. Give Sam a shout. Right, see you next time. Thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and if you really appreciate what we do, please consider supporting us on either Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. Links are available on our website, TAMPodcast.com, where you can also go to our store, that's a shop in English, and buy some branded stuff. Please keep listening and, more importantly, spreading the word. Right, that's it. Just a final word from one of our sponsors, and we'll see you next time. Are you heading out on an adventure? Whether you're tackling the Tet or hitting the green lanes, don't forget to pack the Pits and Bits Towel Off Body and Hair Wash range. It's the ultimate waterless wash. Just pour it on, rub it into a foam and towel it off. That's it. No water, no rinsing, no fuss. It's lightweight, smells amazing, and most importantly, it gets rid of mud, sweat and odours fast. Perfect for when you're off the beaten track. Stay fresh, go further, and do it all sustainably. Grab yours now at pitsandbits.co.uk, and don't forget to use the code TAMP at checkout for a massive 20% off.